That concludes an interesting practice session. Let's hope for more excitement as the weekend unfolds.
Standing by. first position, front of the pack. And just behind us are Porsche, Cordial and Benavides. Fastest lap at the moment, 1 minute 29.0. Understood, stopping this lap.
Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. So it's all about speed in today's sprint race then. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Imola's unusual in that it runs anti-clockwise, taking in 19 turns along its 3.1 miles of tarmac. 9 of those are right-handers, with the remaining 10 as left-handers. Now, the F2 drivers here today need to keep in mind the elevation. Pay attention to turn 7. A slow exit from here will lose a driver a lot of time as they struggle to accelerate uphill. Welcome to the Formula 2 commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alex Brundle joins us as ever for this. Alex, it's a sprint race. How's the format change going to affect the mentality of the drivers?
Well, there were plumes of dust coming off the cars at the beginning of free practice, so not a lot really. Quali's on the other compound of tyre usually. So for the sprint race, you kind of finger in the air, figuring it out.
start was okay, now stay alert for threats around you. Eighth place, you're in 8th place. Okay, Hadgers ahead of you. They're on fresh mediums. And Miney's behind you now. They're on fresh mediums. Okay, so gap to the leader, 3.2 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. And that's 8 laps to go. Experience some understeer now that you're in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as soon as possible. Okay, good work. Great pass. Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. catching the car ahead, but remember, we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres. Nice move, good job. That's a new fastest lap of the race. Fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Okay, you've just started the final lap of the race. Final lap. that's P1. Verschoor is behind you now. They're on old mediums. Okay, this is your final lap of the race.
Yes, guys, yes! Come on, boys!
Okay, good job, mate. Really, really well done. That was a fantastic drive. Bring it home.
A great win then for the Prema team today.
The carve through the grid in the sprint race offers them the opportunity to double up tomorrow by winning from feature race pole.
As we look back on a thrilling race here today, we can now see the drivers take their places on the podium. It's a familiar sight by now, as it's another successful F2 win for Prema. After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care. Welcome back to Imola as we get ready for another glorious day of Formula 2 action. It's 3.1 miles around Imola with 19 turns to master, 9 right-handers and 10 left. And note as well that Imola is one of the few tracks that's driven anti-clockwise. Keep an eye on the exit from turn 18. A good exit there leading into the circuit's only DRS zone will probably be the setup for some of today's best overtaking opportunities. Here is the grid for today's race, which will be starting shortly. Maverick lines up on pole position, with Jehan Daruvula alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Martins, Hadjar, Kushmaini and Pourchaire. Cordial, Verschoor, Leclerc, Brad Benavides, Awasa, Fittipaldi, Ralph Boschung, Jack Crawford, Behrman, Novalak, Doohan, Dennis Hauger, Correa, Maloney, Stanek, and Roy Nissany completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. It is the Formula 2 race. It is time to introduce you to Alex Brundle. I'm Alex Jakes, and we've got changeable weather out there today. That's making for some nervous team personnel down in the paddock, down in the pit lane.
Well, uncertainty is what strategy's all about, but it absolves the teams from the responsibility of running both compounds of tyre. They might have to use that wet tyre, of course, and then the question is, where do those crossovers lie between the wet and dry conditions?
The formation lap gets underway for this, the Formula 2 race, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure the car is ready for battle once the lights go out.
For a bit of understeer when trailing the car ahead. They're going to be giving off dirty air, which is going to affect our tyres, so try to get past. job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. Great work, that's a new fastest lap of the race. Great manoeuvre, you made it look so easy. Okay, mate, right, that front wing damage is going to hurt us. We've really got to look after it now. Let's put everything into protecting that front wing, please. Okay, we're approaching the pit window and we're going to put you onto super softs. pits. Ollie in the pits now. Great stuff, mate. You hit the target well there. Nice one. It's a long way to go in this race, though, so keep your head down. Okay, we want you to pit this lap, so push now, push. Remember, box this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach and make sure you don't speed. All right,
And
we'll
it
be
looks
doing
like the
one
pit
more
crew
stop
are
today.
out
One
and
stop
ready to
left in this
perform their
strategy.
magic on the car. They will be aiming to achieve the fastest pit time possible. A decent pit time then. The team will be hoping they can get back into the action as fast as possible and not lose too much time from this stop.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. Position, front of the pack. It's Porsche behind you now. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on fresh mediums. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 4 laps remaining. condition still looking good. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 12.8 seconds. Fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Let's go, final lap.
Yes, guys, yes! Come on, boys!
Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
Here's our winner, pulling their Prema into Parc Ferme then. What a fantastic race.
Are these just their couple of favourite racetracks? 3 wins in a row, good effort.
It looks like it's time for the victory ceremony once again, as I can see the drivers beginning to make their way out for the celebrations. You can see it on their faces. It's another marvellous team win for Prema today. There will be plenty more twists and turns to come this season. I hope you'll join us at the next race when Formula 2 returns.